Welcome to Zoom In, Zoom Out, your in-depth look at how news from around the world impacts Taiwan. I'm Sally Jensen. For a long time, grassroots organizations, activists, and international NGOs have engaged in social movement advocacy in Hong Kong and Bangkok. These two cities were once vibrant hubs for collaboration between civil society spaces within Southeast Asia. But in recent years, these havens have been disrupted. What were once seen as the NGO capitals of the region are fast becoming a dangerous jungle for asylum seekers, human rights defenders, and dissidents. In their absence, can Taiwan step up as an alternative civic space? To discuss this, we're joined by Leah Lin. She's the founder of Asia Citizen Future Association, also called ACFA. It's a Taiwan-based NGO that connects Taiwan and civil society in Southeast Asia. Leah, welcome to the show.
Hi everyone, I'm Leah Lin from Asia Citizen Future Association.
Your NGO studies civic spaces, but what exactly do you mean by civic spaces? What's a good or even a bad example of a civic space?
Civic space basically is an environment and a sphere for individuals and collective groups to exchange ideas and also form collective initiatives and actions in order to make social change or pursue justice. So if you see the UN's definition of what is civic space enables civil society to play a role in political, economic, and social lives. And civic space has the function of accessing information, engaging in dialogues, expressing dissent or disagreement, and join together to express their views. And according to Civic's, the Civil Society Index, you can see Taiwan is the only green spot in the Asia region. So you can see Taiwan, there will be a pride parade in every October that can gather 100,000 of participants and more than 200 NGOs from either local or overseas to join. But in this July, ASEAN Queer Advocacy Week, AAW, which is an annual gathering organized by ASEAN Social Caucus and Indonesian-based groups, were facing waves of digital attacks and security threats, which had led to cancellation. So you can easily feel the different level of openness in terms of the civic space in Taiwan and Indonesia in terms of LGBT rights.
What about social movements? Can you tell us, is there a relationship between civic spaces and social movements?
Yes. Of course, if we want to go to the street for protest or to form up a social movement, we will need a space that they can allow us to do. It doesn't mean that social movement only happen in the open civic space, but we can see if in a closed civic space, social movement will be easily to repress and will be easily to harass by the authority.
So ACFA recently published a report entitled Exploring Taiwan's Role Amid the Closing Civic Space in Southeast Asia. Can you tell us a little bit more about this report?
Yes, so the core question of our report is to answer whether Taiwan can support or collaborate with the Southeast Asia civil society when we see the civic space in Southeast Asia is closing. So we scrutinize Taiwan in terms of our social, financial, tax, and different conditions to answer how Taiwan can improve to provide a civic space for Southeast Asia organizations.
So we'll come back to Taiwan in a moment, but your report, it looks at 7 different NGOs in 7 different countries, including Myanmar. Can you begin by telling us how Myanmar's situation is affecting NGOs and civil society organizations there?
Yes, Myanmar's situation is very worse in Southeast Asia region because in 2021, the 1st of February, the coup happens, and after that, the civil society suddenly shut down and almost closed. But we can still see a lot of grassroots organizations are still functioning underground, and they will try their best to connect with overseas or international community to keep their momentum and their activism. And we can see increasing organization move to MESOLT. And so we try to understand their demands when it comes to relocate or extend their organizations overseas. So in this background, we also include one Myanmar NGO which is ACDD. ACDD stands for Action Committee for Democracy Development. It is a Myanmar NGO, serves as a political coalition encompassing various grassroots networks in Myanmar. And through the collective participation of its local and village-level networks, ACDD initiated a nationwide campaign to advocate for human rights and democracy in Myanmar. So due to the nature of ACDD, it was targeted by the military junta from the very beginning. They have members who are arrested and even killed in the military coup in 2021. And although they based in Seoul, they're still facing a lot of threats against them, especially when we see a lot of reports shows that the Thai authority, in fact, and the Thai police and authority works closely with the Myanmar military junta. So the Thai police were seeking anti-junta activists and detained 108 Myanmar nationals in Seoul in 2023 in March.
Why are you calling this erosion of civic spaces across the region of Southeast Asia a crisis, though? What's going to happen if the situation continues unchanged?
Civic space guarantees freedom of expression, assembly, and also association, which are the very fundamental human rights are enshrined in the international covenants on political and civil rights. If there is no tolerance and guarantee to the ICCPR rights, everyone exercising whatever fundamental human rights, they should be ensured and anywhere will be illegal or targeted. So in the long run, people will just self-censor themselves and the society will die. So we can see the government learn from each other in terms of the means and measures of governance and also social controls. So if one country does not respect human rights and does not protect civic space, it's a nightmare. While if most of the government in the region harass civil society activities and violate civic space, it will be undoubtedly seen as a crisis.
So we've just laid out that this is a region-wide issue. So this is really significant on a global scale, right? How have international NGOs and the rest of the world been responding to this?
So INGO, they are mostly are Western backgrounds. They tend to perceive Southeast Asia and East Asia different region. And East Asia is where Taiwan located. So they see these two sub-region as separate region. So this creates a non-necessary division and a barrier in terms of resources, knowledge, and networks, which greatly hinders the civil society's ability to respond to current situation and challenge together. They should support the development of enabling civic space in potential locations, such as Taiwan. You need to put resources to let the Taiwan CSO to understand how Taiwan can open up to civil society and groups in need. So they need to find out more potential cities or countries that can work to support the closing civic space issues.
So we know that Taiwan has a lot of Southeast Asian migrants, and a lot of these are here for work. But has there been an increase in human rights defenders and activists, for example, coming from the region to Taiwan?
Yes. ACAFA have facilitated some cases and some organizations to help them to understand how to register or how to relocate in Taiwan. So when we talk about relocation or when we talk about come to Taiwan to settle up an organization, it is not just about registration. It is about how they can really keep their work here in Taiwan and still work with the grassroots in their countries. I am not able to share what exactly the organizations are, but we can say they are increasing Southeast Asia organization. They are put this plan on the table and discuss with their board to see whether Taiwan or maybe other city or country is available for them to settle down and to keep their work.
And how has the Taiwanese government or Taiwanese citizens reacting to increasing authoritarianism in the Southeast Asia region?
I think the Taiwan civil society and the broader society and the government doesn't have enough information and understanding what is happening in Southeast Asia. So you can see we have a lot of exchange with Southeast Asia, like in tourism, education, medical, and even trade. But in terms of civil society and human rights and social movement, there is still a big gap between Taiwan and Southeast Asia. So we are working to enhance the understanding and the awareness of Taiwan's government and civil society to pay more attention on autocracy and the authoritarianism.
Is there a reason that Taiwan's society should care more about these issues?
Geographically speaking, Taiwan is just next door to Southeast Asia region. It is at most only 2 hours time differences between Taiwan and Southeast Asia. And the weather, transportation, infrastructure, and internet speed here are nice. And geopolitically speaking, Taiwan tends to and needs to take human rights and democracy to legitimate itself in today's world. And Taiwan has its duty to pragmatically to provide support with civil society needs, and we should avoid it to become just some black rhetoric. So if we don't collaborate with like-minded partners and activists and organizations in the region, if we don't provide support to them to pursue democracy and human rights in their countries and their own contexts, it really fastens the speed of the expansion of autocracy and authoritarianism in our region, and Taiwan will surely be isolated if the situation really kept true. In the country, if we support human rights defenders, activists, and dissidents in closing civic space, we are indirectly promoting their democracy and also the protection of their human rights. So Taiwan will benefit from it for sure.
Politically speaking, what can you tell us about Taiwan's asylum laws and how they might affect those seeking refuge?
Okay, so currently there is no asylum-seeking law in Taiwan, so we use the Immigration Act and other law and deal with these cases. So there are human rights organizations promote the asylum-seeking law and refugee law in Taiwan for a very long time. So this is still ongoing in the process. But we can see the Civil Association Acts, and also there is other laws and acts they can support groups from the Southeast Asia to Taiwan. So we are also promoting the government to really scrutinize what can we add, what can we amend in our current existing law to protect and to support the Southeast Asia organizations.
So we've spoken about what politically Taiwan can do, but how can ordinary Taiwanese people who care about these issues, how can they take action?
I think Taiwan is a democracy society, so everyone's voice can be voiced out. So if the civil society and ordinary people want to support Southeast Asia situation, I think mostly they can work with the organization who are focused on this issue and to provide support to this organization. And we can gather the voices and to make the policy have the changes.
Thank you so much for your work and your insights, Leah. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
This has been Zoom In, Zoom Out. For more stories from TaiwanPlus, follow us on social media. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
For more stories from Taiwan and around the world, follow us on social media or download the TaiwanPlus app.
In the face of adversity, the power of truth.
A roadmap for a just and open world, charted by the freest country in Asia.
Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
TaiwanPlus News, a voice of freedom in Asia.